article going over every NFL team's strengths, weaknesses, X factor, and rookie to watch. We're going to get to those last two categories, but they called offensive weaponry a weakness for Bo Nix, and we're saying, hey, we understand why they're saying this, because it's a lot of unproven outside of number 14, Courtland Sutton, and he might be frustrated depending on what happens with his contract during this dead period of no football. So, Cecil, if they would just, kind of generic overhaul of this to, hey, it's all the offensive weapons. There aren't that many. If we had to narrow that down to a position group, a player if you wanted to do that, what do you think the biggest weakness of the lack of offensive weaponry is?
Yeah, biggest weakness is just the unknown at wide receiver. You have a known at tight end. You have a known at receiver with Sutton. And then behind him, it's like, okay, how good can these guys be right now? That's the main thing. I mean, we know JK Dobbins. We believe in the upside of RJ Harvey. A little bit of unknown in pass protection, but still, speed and space, all that kind of stuff. It's really just the wide receivers. Okay, not named Sutton. Who's going to take that spot? Who steps up? Should be Devaughn Vele, but he also was hurt during mandatory minicamp. Mm-hmm. Could be Pat Bryant, but if Devaughn Vele's better, then that might be a camp battle that we're watching. Mims could throw everything out of whack because he could just be that good.
Yeah. That would be a great problem to have.
I know you're not a superhero guy, but Thanos said inevitable.
Okay.
I am inevitable. Is Marvin Mims inevitable? He seems like it.
Like that.
He's kind of angry like Thanos.
Yeah, he is.
Right? He's like a little baby Thanos, right?
Yeah.
So snap, boom, Marvin Mims is a starter and a Pro Bowler as a receiver. We just don't yet know. I haven't even brought up Troy Franklin yet. What is he like in year 2? Has he gotten it? The coach, he's got the eye of Sean Payton, for sure. And Sean Payton's taken on these pet projects before. We've talked about his love for Jerry Jeudy. He really liked Jerry Jeudy. He wanted to make it work. Morgan Freeman voice. It did not work with Jerry Jeudy because it's Jerry Jeudy. Does Troy Franklin actually work? Because he's taken the same liking that he had for Jeudy to Franklin, much further down the depth chart than was Jeudy, but we'll see how it works out.
Well, and the roster's changed too, so that's going to make it a little difficult for Troy Franklin. That is something, I don't know that I'm worried about it, but it's something that I've thought about, and I probably will throughout the offseason, and certainly when we get into camp and you and I are getting eyes on, what if it's a rich person's problem, but what if all these wide receivers do look good? How do you get them all onto the field? Does it overcomplicate things with Sean like it did with the running backs last year? You know what I mean? Like too many mouths to feed and too many opportunities to be given, and Sean doesn't handle that balance that well. I worry about that, not just with running backs, because I think that's still a part of the problem, but now with wide receivers, because he's kind of got, like what you call a little project, like that's your garage project, right? You got it covered up, and you're working on it on your part-time, but if you have 6 garage projects, well, spoiler alert, not one's going to get done. You know what I mean?
You like to tinker, but you also want it to work, right? You don't want to tinker with it all the time, and that's the thing with these wide receivers. It's like we know the offensive line is set. We know the tight end is Evan Ingram, and I guess we could say like pass catcher not named Evan Ingram. Is there even room for that? Look at the roster crunch you're going to have. I mentioned earlier about your 6 pass rushers. Johnny Walker's going to have to make this team, or you're going to have to hide him. He was the most expensive UDFA. Other teams want him bad. He was a standout at the Shrine game earlier this year. You can't just go into training camp being like, yeah, Johnny Walker on the practice squad. No. Q Robinson is a 4-team special teams guy right now, and he's being a plus player as a pass rusher. He's got to make the team. These are the number 5 and 6 pass rushers.
Yeah.
So you're going to keep 6 edges? Nick Bonito about ready to play half the snaps that he had and have the same amount of production because they're just going to send wave and wave and wave of pass rushers. So if you keep 6 rushers, brother, 3 tight ends, Troutman, Adkins, and Ingram, that's it. And that's enough. That'll do, Pig, as long as Ingram is healthy and he's that pass catcher. Is there anyone as a pass catcher behind him? I know Mace had his article about the 5 players that helped themselves the most, and Caleb Lohner was on that list. I need to put eyes on him because outside of hip tossing a guy at rookie minicamp, I haven't seen enough. And he's also a guy that caught 4 passes. He's a huge project. He's a garage project. Now, one that you hope can turn into something, but that's also, in my opinion, a few years from now.
Yeah, if ever.
Yeah, not this year, right? Not this year. This year is about Ingram and then maybe somebody behind him. I don't think Lucas Kroll makes the team. He's had too many opportunities, and he hasn't made the most of those opportunities.
Yeah, the loner situation is, that's That is, if he makes the practice squad, I think that's a good start for Caleb Lohner.
Right.
And then just figure out what you have there. Maybe there's a package or two down the road for a guy like that in the red zone only. But I'm not going to hold my breath on a 7th-round tight end that's actually a basketball player.
Right.
Can't do that.
Yeah, it's going to be like 3 years, and then we can talk about whether that was a good pick or not. Mm-hmm. We'll see where guys like Aronde Gadsden are, Luke Lachey are, both late-round tight ends that I had as options for the Denver Broncos. So really, weaknesses, yeah, I mean.
You know what? I'm hesitant to say it this way, but, like, I think the biggest weakness is Sean's brain, but it's also the strength. He's such a smart offensive mind.
Wait a second, what?
But his weakness is trying to do too much in one game. Like, not running the ball enough a year ago.
Okay.
This year, I wonder, does that translate to trying to get Pat Bryant too involved too early? Trying to get Troy Franklin too involved too early instead of just taking what's there for you? Hey, Bo and Courtland have a great connection. Continue to hit that. Bo and Marvin are going to continue to build that connection. Work on that. Evan Ingram's there. Hit the middle of the field. RJ Harvey and JK Dobbins, how are you going to use them in the passing game and running game? We haven't even talked about the other 3 wide receivers. That's like Sean's brain going, how do I get him involved? How do I get him involved? Oh, crap, I forgot to get Courtland involved.
Right. Paralysis by analysis,
there
basically.
We go. Thank you.
And with one football to go around, I think you design plays for Courtland Sutton. I think you design plays for Evan Ingram. I think you design plays for RJ Harvey and maybe even for Marvin Mims.
Okay.
So there's the 4 guys that if I'm running special plays, it's for those guys. You know, JK Dobbins, it's a handoff, it's a counter. The counter is back. They're going to run a lot of counter with JK Dobbins. It's a favorite play. And with the way that they're running the ball, you should be able – counter is about deception. Honestly, football, declaration of influence, it's all about deception. We're going to show you heavy. We're actually throwing out of a heavy package. And that's where Troutman on the field with Ingram on the field, that's 2 tight end sets. That's going to signal heavy to the defense, but Ingram's really the wide receiver. He's practicing with the wide receivers. Mm-hmm. He's a wide receiver. So, like, the way you set things up is you smash things in the middle with J.K. Dobbins. You run some counter with J.K. Dobbins. You soften up the defense. You go play action over the top to Court. That's one of the several plays, but I think Sean Payton's going to have fun as long as he remembers to get back to the certain players. Again, Ingram, Sutton, Harvey, and maybe a little bit of Mims and some trickery. Those are the guys to emphasize and go back to and make sure at the end of the game, did Sutton get his 10 targets? Okay, good. We did that.
Mm-hmm. And in Courtland, you say something if you're not getting those targets.
Right. And Bo told him that last year. So hopefully that continues this season.